Hello, Piccadilly Knight here with another video. Now, this is going to be one of those, I do them periodically, probably about twice a year so far, these kind of housekeeping videos. And what I mean by that is stuff that I'm just going to briefly explain, a bit about what's been going on, a bit about what I've been doing, and also what my immediate plans are for this channel. Now, those of you who've seen one of these types of videos before know exactly what's coming. I'm basically going to reel off a list of all the stuff that I planned to do when I last did one of these, but still for some reason or another haven't got round to. But no, I don't normally bring this sort of stuff into the video, but I'm going to for the purposes of explanation. A little bit of personal stuff has been going on for me in the last couple of months. Two big things, basically. Number one, my niece is now permanently living with us. And don't get me wrong, it's a wonderful thing, but it does mean that my time has basically gone through the floor. So, you know, what with stuff to do and the summer holidays and then school pickups and things like that, it basically means my free time has vanished. Also, that's had an effect on that is I'm now currently working close to, well, in fact, just above 50 hours a week, which doesn't sound like an awful lot if you're one of these people that's used to working a full-time week, say 40 hours. But trust me, those 10 plus extra hours a week make a difference. Hopefully that's not forever. The one good point about that is it means that obviously I'm getting paid more, so that's a good thing. So I'm actually still able to fund all the things I want to fund and put a little bit of money away. But the irony, of course, is that now that I have got a little bit of extra spending money, I have now got far less time to spend it. So even though the next video after this will probably be a pickups one, the pickups that I've got in the last 6 months will probably be just about what I would normally buy in a 3-month period. Although I did say last time I did one of these that the pickups were going to become less and less as I found there was less and less things I actually wanted. So anyway, that's by the by. So a couple of things I just want to say first is that yes, I am still planning on doing the PlayStation 3 review videos, although when I come to I've done what I did last time. I've printed off some of the more notable comments from my comments section, and I will be going through them towards the end of the video. That's probably the last thing I'll do, so I'll come more onto that later on. Although I still plan on doing the PlayStation 3 videos, that's sort of been knocked on the back burner because, again, time, you know. I mean, these videos are only the PS3 reviews. I mean, the gameplay of it is 20 to 30 minutes, and the talky bits are like 10 minutes. But it's finding the time to actually do it, and then finding the time to edit them down. Because obviously, as anyone who's done this will know, that editing something takes about 3 or 4 times as long as it does to record it. So anyway, so that's basically why that hasn't happened. Now, there was I'm still planning on putting up the Legend of Zelda walkthrough, I was going to say Land Before Time. It's not Land Before Time. Oh dear, tired. A Link to the Past walkthrough that I was doing. But I haven't felt the need to really move on that for 2 reasons. Number one, again, it's down to the editing, because I haven't even done the voiceovers for most of them yet, although I've actually got all the footage. So that comes down to editing. I've also got to record the voiceovers for them. And the second thing is nobody's really been watching them. So I didn't really feel it was a priority. And there's lots of things that are sort of like that at the moment. One thing that has gained traction in the last couple of months, if I look at my view count, is the Final Fantasy X videos. So I dare say that's probably a priority for me to finish that. So if you've been watching them, I absolutely do plan on getting round to do it. And I know it's been over a year since I last put one up. It is in the plans, but for now it's staying as plans because I have to... My real world time has been prioritised somewhat at the moment, so that is kind of fiddling everything about. I just need to be a bit more... I basically have to allocate time to do it, whereas I could... Really, a few months back, I could do one of these on a whim. So, like, I could edit with one. I could record it one day, have it edited the next, and have it uploaded the day after, if I really wanted to. Now I have to sort of box them bits in, if you see what I mean. And this is going to be a running theme for at least a while yet. So that's basically it. Is there's lots of stuff on the back burner, pretty much a lot of the same stuff as what was on the back burner before, which is going to get finished eventually when I get round to doing it. Now, a couple of things I did want to mention is that for those that have watched my Nier Automata playthroughs, all 6 of you that have, thanks. No, that again is something that I will get round to finishing probably sooner rather than later because the PlayStation 4 is actually hooked up to the television at the moment. So that might be the easiest one to sort of get on and do. But as you may have noticed, if you're not a YouTube subscriber, maybe you've noticed that you can't actually watch them videos. Maybe they don't even show up if you go to my playlist. Now, the reason for that is because it's an 18 rated game, so obviously the videos that I'm doing have to be 18 rated, and if you're not YouTube registered or you are registered but you're under 18, then obviously you won't be able to see them. Now, I'm hoping that's what accounts for the low view count, but that's the way it is. It's an 18 rated game, so therefore it would be irresponsible of me to do anything but an 18 rated video when I was doing a mature rated video rather, when I was doing a playthrough. That would just be irresponsible and probably wouldn't fit in with YouTube's guidelines anyway. So that's why that is restricted content. It's not restricted content because I've added anything else in. You know, I'm not playing it naked or anything. It's because the game is an 18 rated game. For anyone that might have been confused. But like, as I say, the view count on them is... I think there's 8 videos so far, and the view count as a total is 6. So it hasn't really affected that many people. One video I did actually plan and was pretty much on the point of filming was I went to the Centre for Computing History in Cambridge, and I thought this would be brilliant. I'll take my phone and film a load of stuff. I'll take the handy whole thing, and now to bring this back to the first point I made, what actually ended up happening was I didn't get any footage for myself that day because I decided it would be more fun to take my niece, because she's into video games and YouTube and that as well, to take her and she could do, because she wanted to do a YouTube video. So I basically just spent the day being cameraman for her, which, you know, maybe I'll put a link to it in the description or something if you want to watch it. It's not that interesting because I was, you know, I basically said to her, I said, look, you direct it, you tell me what you want me to film and I will film it. It's that simple. And to be fair, she's 9, she's not very good at that sort of thing. She doesn't know what might interest other people, but she knows what interests her. So maybe I'll put a link to the description when we finally get round to editing the thing. So that's what basically happened. I decided I was going to go there and I was going to do a video for myself, and I ended up basically just playing cameraman for the day. Although, like I say, this is the souvenir I bought there. It's in Cambridge, by the way, if anyone wants to go there. not the easiest place to find, I'll grant you, but the directions on their website are actually quite good. So I would advise, if you are going to go there, go to the website and get the directions straight from them. But these are quite fun little things. They're like basically 1980s computer, top trumps cards, really. So we've got the Acorn A3000. It tells me it has an ARM2 CPU, clocked at 8 megahertz, 1024 kilobytes of RAM, resolution 800 by 600. That's basically what these are, and it's all computers from the 80s, pretty much, and a Raspberry Pi Model B. So yeah, I can't remember how much they were. I think they were about £6 or £7. But it's nice, little crib sheet of home computers, and they even come in a little sort of compact cassette case here, which is quite snazzy. But I am told that all proceeds go back into, all profits made go back into keeping the museum going. So that, well worth doing. And I don't want to spoil anything for anyone that would want to go there, but I am almost 100% certain that the TurboGrafx that I played on while I was there is the elusive PAL German version, which up until I went there I thought was a myth. I am pretty sure that is the model that I played on. Now, I got an email address for the procurement guy that works there. So I was going to email him and ask him. Unfortunately, when I looked in my wallet, where I put the piece of paper with the address on it, it was in with some receipts, and I think I've thrown it away. So I could go on the website and look and just email him to confirm that, but I think that's what I played on. Not 100%, but I've never seen a TurboGrafx that looked quite like that before. Different colouring, and yeah, it's... Anyway, no spoilers for somebody that wants to go there, but it was a really fun day out if you're into your old computers and retro consoles and things. So I advise that. But yeah, like I say, no video from that, unfortunately. Well, not from me. So what else did I want to talk about? Yes, I am going to be doing another lot of Collect Emulator Void. The next one is probably going to be... I hadn't quite decided what I was going to do, but I think I was going to go Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and then Wii. I haven't decided whether I was going to do a handhelds version of that, because there's only really 2 or 3 handhelds I'd actually want to talk about anyway. So that might be like a sort of perpendicular to what I've been doing as is. It's basically, if you haven't seen them, you can go and watch them anytime. They're called the Collect Emulator Void series, and it's basically I pick it's only really the popular ones that I pick, and probably don't go to the early ones, because as has been pointed out to me lots on the comments section, and there are a lot of mistakes in the early ones. Although they were researched at the time, I can honestly say now that it turns out that some of my research was obviously from the wrong places, because there was stuff pointed out to me that when I went back and looked at it was so glaringly obviously wrong. But I'm not going to do a new video to correct it, so what is the point? Because like I say, the early ones of them are another one that haven't got that many views, so nobody's really seen it anyway. And to be perfectly honest, if you're going to start either collecting something or whatever based on one person on the internet say so, then more fool you. Go and do your own research. So, what else is left to do? Yeah, like I say, I mean, most of the stuff is stuff that I've had planned in the works for a time. One of the things I was talking about the last time was that I was looking at getting a new place to do these videos. Now, that was well researched, and I was well on the way to that. And in fact, one of the videos I've had to record over the summer, I've had to record like in the room upstairs where everything is kept. So it actually looks a bit of a mess, and the lighting's not great. It's not even. I mean, the lighting's not great in here, but at least there's lots of it. So, and there will be another video coming out, maybe before the pickups one, or maybe after. I haven't decided yet. Which is about me buying stuff on eBay, basically in order to resell it. And I'm not going to spoil it for you, just to say that there's some ups and downs. There's certainly some ups and downs to go through on that video. But anyway, no, so I'm not going anywhere soon. That has all been knocked on the head as well. And again, that comes down to time, basically. I haven't followed anything up. I haven't chased anything up. I haven't had the time. And this is actually the first thing I've been able to record in about a month. So, yeah, I mean, literally, I haven't recorded anything in about a month, let alone done anything else. I was thinking of doing a thing on PC games, but I don't know how. Basically, a lot of these videos I do. Now, let me explain how I come at the sort of YouTube situation at the moment. Because I don't have enough subscribers to monetize the content. I mean, which is fine, because obviously it wasn't something I was used to anyway before YouTube stopped all that. But the thing is, as far as I can see, I'm not getting any money from this, and won't be for the foreseeable future, not a penny. And obviously, because I'm not getting any money, YouTube won't be getting any money, because it's not worth putting adverts on my videos. It's just not worth it for them. Hardly anyone's going to see. Based on the amount of people that use YouTube as to the amount of people that see my content, nobody's going to see them. So I don't see YouTube pushing my stuff particularly aggressively. Maybe once in a while something will slip through the cracks, or maybe you've searched for something, this is how you've ended up here, and for that I thank you. But it basically means I know that my stuff is not going to get pushed to the fore. Not many people's going to see my thing. So basically it comes down to this. Everything I do is, on the first point, something that's going to interest me to make it, relatively fun for me to do. Otherwise, what's the point? I'm not going to do something I don't want to do. And then as a little bonus, something that I think might interest other people. Now, I was planning on doing a segment that was about 90s PC gaming, like a section devoted to that. And I'm sort of at a crossroads where I'm thinking, well, I could do that, and that would certainly interest me, because I have a lot of 90s PC games. Would it interest anyone else? I'm not sure. Would it be worth me doing that amount of work and holding my interest for any length of time to make it a separate section of the channel? I'm really not sure. So what I might do as an experiment is just do a couple of bits, or a couple of bits and pieces, or maybe just a couple of games, and put that up and see how that goes. Because this is very much a back and forth type experiment. And I suppose if you wanted to, you could put in the comment section whether you'd like to see that or not, whether you want my opinion on 90s PC gaming. Bearing in mind that we're now in 2018, so we're talking games from like 20 years ago. Now, I was playing them 20 years ago, so I know what I thought about them then. What do I think about them now? Well, I'm not sure. I have a lot of nostalgia for them, but I do worry that it may be when I go back and play some of these, they're not as good as I remember them being. That could also be another worry, and something that would immediately stop me in my tracks. Because frankly, if I'm not really having that much fun making the content, it's not going to last. So yeah, what else? There was something else. I should start writing all this down. Top tip for anyone trying to make videos: write things down. I've got obviously the comment stuff written down, but I haven't got. I didn't bring the piece of paper where I sort of scribbled on what I was going to say. Now, the other thing I really wanted to do, and again, this may come across as a little self-absorbed, and quite frankly, I don't care. But one of the things that I really wanted to do was basically to explain to anyone watching this content, and this will probably be something I will do in a future video, is my background with gaming. Because I've sort of been in and out of it. I've never really been all the way in. I've never really been all the way out. But it's been sort of bits and pieces throughout my life. It's been like a running thread. And you know, there are some bits that I really, really know and I'm really, really good at. There are some even cultural touchstones of gaming that I'm not that overly familiar with. You know, for instance, I was. I mean, there's stuff that everyone has played that I've not really been that bothered by. For instance, like Castlevania. You know, and I know that is going to upset 50% of the people who see this video. So 2 people are going to get really upset. But something like that. No, I've obviously played them, but I'm not. I've never finished one. I've never got that far into it. I'm not. You know, there are people that exist that could tell you, you know, the entire history between Dracula and Simon, or Dracula and Alucard, or I am not one of those people, and that is. This is why I want to sort of outline my history with gaming, and my personal history with gaming in particular, because there is stuff like that I just, you know, if it came up, I would just draw a blank. I wouldn't have a clue. Whereas, conversely, I mean, if, like, just taking something else sort of Nintendo-y by example, I mean, if you were to... I could literally reel off a list of every exit in Super Mario World, how to do it, how to find it, and could concisely explain exactly what to do, because that is something that that is a game that I absolutely played to death, and a series that I absolutely played to death. I could tell you exactly where all the hammer suits are in Mario 3 for the same reason. It is a game that I had as a kid that I absolutely played to death, because I didn't have that many games when I was a kid. So that's how it works. I mean, and this is why I think it's important to get somebody's background in gaming as well, because it's such a vast... Even then, I mean, now it is super vast. Nobody could ever have played all the games that are out now. You couldn't even play 10% of the games that currently exist. You couldn't do it. Nobody could physically do it. But even back then, it was difficult for a lot of people to know about all these different things. So I wouldn't say my knowledge is exactly niche, but there are some things in gaming that I just know like the back of my hand, and some things that I don't really have a clue about. And that was just 2 examples of that. And I think it's important sometimes to get somebody's background in that sort of thing. So that is something I plan to do. Now, it may be dull, but I think it will be something I will have fun doing, and at least it gives me an excuse to do something that's a bit more of a long form thing that may be interesting to some people or may not. But it will at least be interesting to me. Even trying to remember some of this stuff and get it into some sort of, I don't know, chronological order of some kind, so that I can actually explain, or maybe even some sort of social order, you know, explain what was going on at the time, what the, I don't want to use the word zeitgeist, but what the zeitgeist was at the time, you know, anyway. So that's basically about it for the housekeeping. I did think about restructuring the videos I've been doing in a different kind of way, but I haven't. I've sort of penciled a few things down that I might fancy doing, you know, like do an intro, do a title card, do this, that and the other, but I haven't finalised exactly what I want to do yet, so that might come at some point in the future. So hopefully there'll be a bit of a more uniform look to the stuff that I'm doing as well. Hopefully it'll help with that. I'm trying to bring everything to a place where you would be able to watch the first minute of a video that I'm doing and know what the next 20-30 minutes is going to be about. That's ideally what I want to do. Unfortunately, I'm sort of like a lot of people that don't do this professionally. They do it the way I'm doing it. It is a case of a lot of time thumbing your way in the dark and seeing what works for you. So if I'm trying a few things out and I don't like it, that's not necessarily the way it's going to stay, but there may be a little bit of experiment going on in the future as well, as I'm trying to sort of pencil things out and get more of a structure to these things. So now that brings us to the bottom of the video, and that is going to be some of the choicest comments I've received since the last video I did this. And one thing I do want to mention with the comments section, now I don't know whether it's... Now, see, I've been receiving a lot of negative comments on one particular video, and I don't know, I know a lot of people relatively have seen it, and it is the one I did on whether there would be a Nintendo 64 Classic or not. Now, if you haven't seen the video, I'll just sum it up as I don't think there will be. And I was receiving quite a lot of negative comments from that. Now, luckily, the YouTube spam filter is actually quite good, and a lot of them haven't appeared on the page, and some of the choicest ones I've deleted anyway, because some of them were just outright. I've left the ones that made fair points, even the slightly abusive ones that actually made a fair point, took the time to make a fair point as to why they thought I might be wrong. But one thing I did want to say is that I don't know whether it's because that video has completely lost traction or nobody's searching for it or whatever, but it has been so nice for the last 3 weeks or maybe 5 weeks now. I haven't had a single comment on that video, and it has been utter bliss because I haven't had to deal with this righteous ire from Nintendo fanboy. Now, again, I don't know whether it's because the video has stopped getting traction. I don't know whether YouTube has just filtered it all out and I don't see it. Or it could just be that these people have had to grow up and find a job or something like that. They've got less time to spend on the internet, perhaps. I don't know. But I will just say, if you are somebody that does YouTube content yourself and you decide to put up something slightly controversial, beware that it might be an idea to just turn comments off. But it has been really nice, that's all I say. And some people have wrote really nice comments. One thing I do want to mention, though, is that nobody seems to be sending me anything on Twitter anymore. That has all stopped completely. I don't know whether are people not using Twitter or are they just not bothering. I mean, I basically the phone that I use Twitter on for this account. Obviously, I don't have it on a personal phone. I have it on a different phone because this is different from my personal life. So. I mean, I used to look at the thing once a day, and there would be notifications from this, that, and the other, and now there's not. And I don't know. Is that just because people aren't sending anything, or whatever? I don't know. But anyway, all I say is that the audience feedback part of this channel has been reasonably quiet. Now that's not a bad thing, but it might be. I don't know. Anyway, let's get on to some of the choicest comments. Let's start with a bad one. I'm sure I saw one that was... Oh, okay, yeah. So, Oliver Dahl says, worst golfer ever, G's, with a J. Yeah. Sorry, I should just put that in context. That was on my Tiger Woods Tiger Woods 07 review for the PlayStation 3. And yeah, I think I mentioned in the video, I'm not a golfist. I don't know the names of all the different bats. I don't know what they do. I know Tiger Woods is a golfer. And there's a little Northern Irish fella that I don't know the name of that's supposedly quite good as well. So I'm not a good golfer. At no point did I say, well, although I don't think being a bad golfer means I can't review a Tiger Woods game. But he is, to be fair, he's not saying the review's bad. He's commenting on my golf, so that's fine. On the same video, Josh Jackson just left me a big grinning. I don't know whether it's a smiley face or a laughing face, but yeah. So that means either it made him laugh, it made him happy. Either way is fine. I mean, I'm happy with either. But yeah, so if you're going to go to the trouble of pressing that button to submit a comment, I can read into that what I like, but it doesn't really provide me with feedback. Andrew Moray writes to me, "Nice!" ! Thanks. Again, brilliant feedback, but try and be a bit more particular in what you thought was nice. Because I mean, some of my videos are over an hour long. I mean, it's nice if you thought that whole hour or however long that video was nice. Then brilliant. I'm doing a good job, and I'm doing it for you. But yeah, so nice. I'll take that. I will take nice. Let's see. Hope Jester left me a comment saying, "I am trying to upscale my original Xbox to 16:9 as I want to capture with a capture card. Any advice?" Yes and no. No, this is something else I might do a video on, because the Xbox is a really, really dodgy one. There's no easy answer to that question. Because somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but the video output on... No, most of the content on gaming that is on YouTube, and I've said this before, I will say it again just to outline it here, is heavily slanted on NTSC North America hardware and software. There is no question of that. And the trouble is, when it comes to getting the best picture out of a console, because I don't know what area of the world Hope Jester lives in, and I would argue that to get an original Xbox to 16:9 is probably easier, and again, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, with the NTSC North American models than it is with the European PAL ones. Now, the only Xbox I have experience with is the European PAL ones, and I know how I would do it on that. So what I'm basically saying is, there is no one-size-fits-all solution. And this is something that I might do a video on at some point in the future. In fact, when it comes to getting a good picture from an original Xbox and a PlayStation 2 perhaps as well, that is something that I might go in depth on in a future video. But all I'll say to you now is, I don't know what hardware you're on. There is no easy answer. Myself, I would probably... the first thing I would do is output it as SCART, because that's going to give you the most flexibility with the video signal. And then to turn that into 16:9, if there's no native option on the console to do that, with whichever game you're actually playing, then I would buy some sort of converter box separately to that and output the video signal through that. As for plugging it into a capture device, you don't say whether the capture card takes component output or HDMI, or I doubt you'd have an S-Video capture card in this day and age, although I don't know. Again, I don't know what hardware you're using. So the point is that one sentence has no easy answer, and it may be something that either I can go into depth with, or you might be better off looking somewhere else. But thanks for the question. If nothing else, it might spur me on to do a video on the subject. And if that's too late to help you, then I'm very sorry. But maybe you'll get a useful tip the next time you need to get an old console at 16:9. Patrick Bradley asked me, are you going to make a follow-up video about the Gotcha? This is the Pokemon watch that automatically captures Pokemon for you. Just wondering, and have you used it a lot since you got the device? I haven't used it a lot since I got the device. I've used it a little since I got the device because I started playing a little bit of Pokemon Go over the summer. Because I was doing a little bit of walking around and having to get to places, so it was something to do, basically. I'm probably not going to make a follow-up video for probably two major reasons. Number one, my phone doesn't work particularly well with Pokemon Go anyway. So I did a video on the hardware as what it was like to use on the first day, and I think I used it for a couple of hours, which is about the length of time that my phone will remain compatible with Pokemon Go. For some reason, it just doesn't get on with that particular game. Because the standby mode on my phone basically doesn't work very well. It's that simple, and because of that, it causes a problem with that game if the phone's been on for any length of time and decides to go into standby mode. Everything stops working. The device unpairs itself. So if I was to do a follow-up sort of nitpicky video about the thing, then I don't think that would be particularly fair based on the hardware I'm using it on. And the only thing that everyone else seems to be saying about this device is the battery life. Now, the one thing I'll say to that is I haven't found the battery life a problem. I think it's perfectly usable. It holds a few hours charge at the most. Probably, I think the most I got out of it was about 4 hours before it needed to charge, which is probably fine. I mean, it doesn't seem to go all day. Although, like I say, the device remained on even when my phone had unpaired, so I don't know whether that was running the battery out faster than it should have, or whatever. Maybe the device kept looking for a phone that for some reason wasn't picking it up, so that might have stunted that as well. And I will give most people that it is very difficult to know if it's charging or not, because the little cradle that it sits in doesn't fit very well, so you're never quite sure whether it's charging or not. But that's the only issue I've actually found with it. All this thing about battery life, I've never really found that an issue. But then, like I say, I haven't been using the thing all day long. Okay, here's a good one. And this is a really good one, actually. Michael Fish. I'm guessing that's not the weatherman. But great name, and if you are the weatherman, thanks for the hurricanes. Now this is good. People, when I read this out, you're going to think I wrote this to myself. Great vid. I'm a typical had one of those back in the day types who is just now getting into retro computing. Back when I was young, I owned a Mattel Aquarius. Right, now, hang on, I'm just going to stop this here. A Mattel Aquarius. I haven't even seen one of them in real life. That is probably one of the world's rarest 1980s computers. In fact, I bet if I look through this, it's not even on here. It is so rare. I've never seen one in real life, honestly. A Mattel Aquarius. I think they sold about 20 of them in 1983 and then stopped making them. But anyway, I owned a Mattel Aquarius, a CPC 464, an Atari ST, a SNES and a PS1. Threw all of them away. That is a real shame, actually. Including dozens and dozens of magazines. What a fool I was. Fool I was is in capitals, so that's a shouty fool I was. This is somebody that's genuinely annoyed with himself. But here we are, silver lining. I recently picked up a CPC 464. I would have argued get the Plus. But a perfectly fine machine. And I'm looking to increase my collection. Well, that should be... Actually, the original 464 should be fairly easy. The 464 Plus, you might have trouble getting cartridge games, but an original 464, you shouldn't have much luck increasing your collection. Whether it's loads of stuff you'd actually want to play... Anyway, rambling on. Don't worry, that isn't in the question. That bit was me talking. Enough rambling. It's as if he knew, isn't it? Look. He's reading my mind. Enough rambling, he says. Although I think he's talking about him. I do like your vids. I love your no DLC standpoint. Actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Very jealous when I watch your pickups. Keep it up. Can't believe you have as few subscribers as you do. Now, I have not written this to myself. But you, Michael Fish, you are now in my good books. There's definitely this is a gold star subscriber. This is my audience. This is who I'm going for. Again, I'm not going to fall out for you for the fact that you've just bought a bog standard 464 and not the 464 Plus, but I can see where you're coming from on that. You want to buy your games on tape. You want to buy the cheap games and get a massive collection. That might be a better idea. And he loves the no DLC. See, this is somebody that gets what I'm doing. These people that are commenting on my PlayStation 3 videos from time to time going, it doesn't do this. If it's not on the disc, it doesn't do it. I don't care. I'm not interested. If it's not on the disc that I can buy in a shop, it's not part of the game. So yeah, Michael Fish, you are, unless something else comes up here to trump you, you are my #1 subscriber of the last 6 months. Well done. Leroy Powell has written, very well done. Again, this is not something I've wrote to myself. This is stuff that people have left. I think this was on the Wii. Yeah, this is on the Wii U video I did that was probably too long. Very well done. It must have taken you weeks to compile that list of games. It took me about, I don't know, all told I think it took me about 5 days. So yeah, I mean, but that was actually devoting quite a large chunk of my time to doing it. Yeah, so yes, there are a few errors. Ooh, don't know, this was looking good till now. But bearing in mind the sheer amount of games you listed from the UK, Japan and the US, it's acceptable. Oh well, that's fine then. I agree with you that on YouTube the vast majority of reviews, re Wii U gamers, are mainly American. Well, yeah, they are. I have a small Wii U collection, 23 games. I looked for a list of Wii U games to collect, UK only, no joy, so I gave... I don't know, it says so I gave, but I'm guessing he meant to write something else there. Came across your video last night. I didn't know whether to go for a complete collection. I think I will collect rarer stuff instead. Well done. Yeah, I mean, the Wii U is going to be one of them consoles that I would, well, I'm hoping, but I do suspect quite strongly that the Wii U is going to be one of them consoles that in a few years lots of people are going to wish they bought and collected for at the time. I mean, barring stuff that is going to definitely be on the Switch at some point, or is now, you know, so your Mario Kart. I mean, Mario Kart 8 for the Wii U is going to be worthless in 10 years' time. But something like Zombie U, you know, it's going to be something you wish you had when people are talking about it in the future, I think. So it depends what to go for. I mean, amiibos we know are going to be worthless in 10 years' time. I mean, most of them are worthless now. So that's, you know, that is something that you need to think about when Wii U collecting, because there's an awful lot of them if you really want to get into it. But yeah, I think I'll collect the rarer stuff instead. I wouldn't necessarily say go for the rarer stuff if I were you. I would say go for stuff that you actually want to play, because the one thing about the Wii U and its games is that the games that are bad are really bad. The games that are good are really good. I mean, there's no middle ground on a Wii U. It's either really good or it's really poor. So I would advise go for the playable stuff, the stuff you actually want to play rather than the rarer stuff. Although that being said, I do have a couple of rarities on the Wii U myself, so I can see where he's coming from. And again, in the future, maybe that rarer stuff will be able to fund something you actually want. So, yeah, why not? Buy it now while it's cheaper. Right, so, next one. Tony the TGR. I'm guessing that's because Tony the Tiger would be, I suppose it's a trademark, isn't it? So he's Tony the TGR. You're not the only one that had trouble with screw number 8 and getting it to pull off. I had to roll it forward too. That's on the replacing a PlayStation 3 Blu-ray drive video. And yeah, he's right. Them things are built like tanks. They're not really designed for normal people to get into. Although they haven't made it overly difficult, they've not made it easy either. So yeah, if you are going to replace the drive on a PlayStation 3, I would seriously suggest watching that video. It's one of the first ones I've done. So it looks terrible. The lighting is bad, the camera work is bad, the sound is god awful, but it does what it says on the tin, and I do end up replacing my PlayStation 3 Blu-ray drive. And judging from the last time I went to play my PlayStation 3, it won't be long before I'm replacing it again, because it did not sound well. But it might just need a clean. Right, so that was Tony the TGR. Sam P. Just Sam P. No second name. Just P, an initial. Hey man. Hey. Enjoyed watching your vid and need to thank you for getting back into devoting time to my stamps after a year or so. Right, so this isn't about gaming. This is about something else I've been doing on the channel, which is the stamp collecting stuff, which is another hobby of mine. So, yeah, brilliant. It is something that people used to collect. When I was a kid, loads of kids used to collect stamps. Loads of adults used to collect stamps. Now, lots of adults still do. But those, you'll know if you ever go to like a stamp fair or a stamp convention or even a stamp shop. They are almost exclusively populated by people in their 50s and 60s. You will not see kids in there. And it's a shame because that to me signifies that stamp collecting is something that is dying out. Basically because the people that do it, not to put too fine a point on it, are dying. They are getting, and this is why you see gluts and gluts of stamps on eBay now, is because people, granddad's gone. The only thing he had that was worth anything was stamp collection and a big stack of pipe tobacco that he never got round to smoking. So they just sell it off, and this is what's happening now. Fantastic that people are getting into the hobby because stamp collecting is one of them things, and it's good because if you pick. No, gamers aren't going to be interested in this, although this might reflect in your games collections as well. I mean, if you choose what you're going to go for. Choose what condition you want it in, and curate a collection properly. And this works with stamps, gaming, whatever it is you collect. If you curate a collection properly, it is really easy to get into. It can be relatively, well, not cheap, but it can be cheaper than just going for everything. And this is where a lot of collectors fall down. Games, stamps, anything, is they just go for everything. Whereas, it's not. Anyway, I'm getting too far off the point, but it's nice to get a comment like this where, thank you for getting back. Need to thank you for getting back to devoting my time to stamps after a year or so, and I'm glad of that. I really am. David T. And this one's been edited, but I don't know what the original was because I don't have the original. Good vid. This is another one that was on the Wii U video. Good vid. The kiddie games are shooting up in price because they are rare. On the Wii U, not so much. They're certainly rarer than some of the Nintendo games. But they're shooting up in price basically because kids wreck games. And I've talked about this before. kiddie games for consoles, if you want them, get them now. Because what basically happens is they go round in the merry-go-round of sort of cheapy games. And I know a lot of parents that do this. You know, they've got a 4 or 5 year old, and they will buy them a second-hand PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 3. It costs them very little money. You know, the pads are quite robust. And they will go into somewhere like CEX or a charity shop or Cash Converters or somewhere like that, and they will pick up Incredibles the video game. They will pick up a Shrek video game. They will pick up Barbie's horse riding game. The stuff that is meant to be kiddie-orientated budget titles. But what happens is that by the time the kid gets hold of them, plays them a few times, gets dirty fingerprints all over the disc, crayons all over the manual, steps on the box a few times, then that game, when that kid is finished with it, goes into the bin, basically. It's not worth giving back to CEX later on. It's not worth giving to the charity shop because it is wrecked. It goes in the bin. And this is why kiddie games disappear over time, basically. It's not because they were rare in particular, it's because they just get destroyed. That's basically the way of things. So yeah, he is right on that point. But I would argue the Wii U ones aren't rare yet because they haven't been destroyed. Okay, well, he goes on to say, a very few were printed and sold, hence the price now. But what he does add here, which is interesting because I didn't know this, I'm not going to do another video to add it in, but it is on the comment section if you go and look. Scribblenauts Unmasked got a PAL Australian release. Now, I didn't know that. And I don't consider Australia to be a different territory because basically what historically happens is they get the same releases as we do here. But I do know that Nintendo makes games in Australia, I believe. They have a manufacturing plant there. They also have one in Germany that does the whole of Europe. So it's entirely possible something got released there that didn't get released here when it comes to Nintendo. So anyone that's interested in where you collecting, David T says Scribblenauts Unmasked got a PAL Australian release, so that might be worth getting, especially if you've got a PAL console, because an Australian game will work on your European console, so that is fine. Right, Fallen Wolfie 2 says, I liked the video, but it didn't feel much like a review, and it was pretty lengthy. Yeah, they are pretty lengthy. They're all about 30 to 40 minutes, and sorry if it didn't feel much like a review, but I don't know how to convey the feeling of a review other than talking about what a game does and what it doesn't do and what I liked about it and what I didn't. 'Cause if somebody says to me, here's a game, this is how it plays, this is how I'm playing it, this is what it looks like, this is what it sounds like, the controls do this, I liked this bit, I didn't like this bit, and these are the crib sheet stats of what you get with the game, here's the disc and the manual, that feels to me like a review. Right, so that was Fallen Wolfie. Now, X Never Walk Alone X, all one word. With a name like that, I'm guessing you're from Liverpool. I can't think of anywhere else you'd be with a name like that. I went to Southport. No, it doesn't say I went. It says went to Southport yesterday. This will be another one on the stamp videos. Found 22 presentation packs. Every pack they had in the shop. That's not loads, to be fair. I mean, a stamp shop that's only got to... Although, to be fair, last time I went to my local stamp shop, what he actually said to me was, I don't keep many presentation packs in stock because I use the stamps as postage. And I thought, what sort of stamp dealer are you? What are you? Anyway, so... Apparently 22 presentation packs was all we had in the shop. And I know, that is depressing. It really is. He bought the lot for 40 quid. So I'm guessing they were 1970s. if you got 22 packs for 40 quid. I'm guessing the value of the stamps was less than 40 quid in 22 presentations. Yeah, so I'm guessing these are probably early 70s. That is what I guess. Anyway, pretty much doubled my small collection with that lot. So now I'm YouTubing presentation pack videos. Right, okay, so when you're on YouTube, if you're interested in stamps, X Never Walk Alone X is now YouTubing presentation pack videos, so go and look him up. I assume it's a him. I mean, I'm guessing he's a football fan, so that doesn't necessarily make him a him, but there you are. Here's another one that was on the Wii videos. KLMAF79 says, great video, I was really looking for some European Wii collecting. So that'll be on the Wii collecting or Wii U? I'm guessing he means Wii U. That was probably on the Wii U videos as well. So yeah, thanks. I mean, anytime somebody starts a comment with great video and it doesn't sound sarcastic, then brilliant. Yeah, thanks very much. And the last one here is UH1HORC. So R1 Hawk. Okay. Really like your stamp videos, so this is another stampy one. Would be great if you would keep doing them from time to time. All the best. The thing is, when it comes to the stamp videos, don't get me wrong, I would love to, but aside from showing off new stuff that I've got, certainly when it comes to British stamps and when it comes to my own collection, I've kind of said what there is to say. So how many are up there? The 20 or so videos that are there, I guess, pretty much tell the whole story of my entire collection. And I think between those videos, they probably make up a good, 5 hours of content? See, like I say, I mean, other than showing off anything new that I've bought, which I might do, I absolutely might do, I would love to upload more content, but I at this point I don't really know what I can add to the to the bubble of stamp collecting from my particular point of view. You know, I've already mentioned when I do them, you know, the things that irritate me about the hobby, the things that don't, the things that I love. You know, the stamp issues that I think would probably have been better not being issued because they're uninteresting or there's no effort been put into the design, that sort of thing. But I don't know. It basically works like this, and like I said at the beginning of this video, if it's something that A, interests me, and B, I think will interest somebody else to the point where it's actually worth doing the content, then the content will eventually get done, as the way I see it. But until I can think of something to add to what I've already done, even if it's only to supplement something that I've already done, it's not going to happen. You know, I have got a new lot of stamps coming in this week, I think, stuff that's been on back order from the Royal Mail. So I suppose I could do that, but if I do, it's going to be a reasonably short video. It's going to be all modern stuff, and even one of the first videos I put up was about eBay trading. You know, buying sort of stock book collections and keeping the ones I want, selling off individually the ones I didn't, and I've got to the point now where that is, even doing that with the collection I've got, is going to provide me diminishing returns to the point now where it is not really worth doing, to the point where the last stock book I bought, which was about 2 months ago, that there was literally not one stamp in it that I needed for my collection. It was basically a blind buy. It didn't cost me very much. It cost me a £5. There was about, I don't know, 200 odd stamps in it, so maybe. I mean, £5 for 200 stamps on any day of the week is a good price, but it turned out that there was nothing in that book that I actually needed. So basically, it's not a £5 wasted, because eventually I will sell those on and get my money back. But the whole point of doing that from the beginning basically was for was that I could take the things out that I needed and maybe save a bit of money that way. And the returns on that have got so diminishing, I can't even add anything to that part of collecting. So until basically the stamp videos have stopped until I've got something worth talking about. That basically is what it comes down to. But thanks for saying that anyway, and thanks for all the nice things. And there are some comments that obviously didn't make this list. This is I decided this is going to be a one-page list, so only the choicest stuff. A quick glance actually made it onto the list. And I hadn't read most of these bigger ones through completely anyway. If it looked good, it went in. And I don't seem to have put many bad ones in. I must have skipped over them. But yeah, so thanks to all that have replied back, and thanks, hopefully, anyone that asked me a question that has been answered, and I am appreciative of all these comments. So that's it. That brings us to the end of this. And so this is the first content I've put out in a couple of months, basically for the reasons I've outlined at the beginning. And even though I haven't had the time to make anything, rest assured that even if something hasn't been properly finished being written in the background, rest assured notes are being made, sketches are being done, the outlines of things that I want to do in the future are being done, and it is basically coming down to time, and that is it. That is basically my limiting factor at the moment, is time. And it's it's one of these sliding scale things. When I get more time and then I fill it with doing this, then I have sort of less free time overall as well. And I won't lie, my social life has heavily been crippled over the last few months. Mostly my fault, because I haven't had the time, or even if I have had the time, I haven't had the inclination to do anything. So. But this YouTube thing that I'm doing has also suffered drastically over the last couple of months. So time to get back on the horse and set aside slotted pieces of time to actually do something. Anyway, I'm rambling again. It's, what are we now, 20 to 3 in the morning. So I'm going to finish this up now and go to bed and do the edit either tomorrow or the next day. So I have been the Pickled Onion Knight. As usual, you can leave comments, you can Twitter on the Twattersphere, you can subscribe. Do look out for more content, because it is coming, albeit it might trickle out very slowly. Although what's more likely to happen is that there's going to be nothing, and then a big glut of stuff, and then nothing. So, I know that's not ideal, but that might have to be the way it's done. So yeah, all of that good stuff. Other videos pop up here you can click on, and I will see you in another video. And again, thanks for all the comments. They really do. It sounds like a cliche to say it, but it does make it worthwhile that I know people are getting something out of it. Not just, I can obviously see when people are watching something, but to get the feedback, to know that somebody's actually getting something out of it, it does actually make it worth doing. Yeah, it's nice. Thanks. And as usual, all those that just want to send me abuse, yeah, you still can, but I just delete it, so there's kind of no point. So yeah, hopefully see you in another video, and goodbye.